What if you could keep all the dirt and mess the kids make outside of your RV? Welcome everybody to Bish's RV. My name is Josh the RV Nerd. I'm at home here in Coldwater, Michigan today, although we do have these at several of our different Bish's locations. The Arctic Wolf 321BH. I think this is just, for somebody like me, if I was going to get a bunkhouse fifth wheel, I would actually be looking at something like this. Of all the things out there, because this is a function over fashion, checks the boxes, and does it really well kind of camper. It's a bath and a half model, so like we're a one and done family. I've got a single kid, but if we have my daughter brings somebody, she would have room for one or two friends back there in a private bunk room, or you'd have room with 3 separate sleepers in that rear room. And if the kids got to get up and down and use the bathroom at night, or if you got to get up and down and use the bathroom at night, everybody has a bathroom right next to their sleeping space, which is really, really handy. I could actually see somebody converting the rear room of this into some form of office and having your own little like private bathroom, bath and a half office kind of space back there. It could be really handy. And it's just a straightforward, no nonsense, just really effective, solid floor plan. The direct entry bathroom door that we looked at, that is something that someone who's never camped before, it kind of spooks them a little bit. But the way that we began this video, I think, is the really key critical detail on this. It helps just keep so much dirt and foot traffic out of the RV by giving you a direct entry straight into a bathroom space, and that can be really, really handy. That's also one of the reasons when you look at the holding tank capacities on this one, the black tank capacity is like overpoweringly big from what you would often expect in something like this, because there's actually 2 black tanks. Now, private rear bunk room with a slide and a move bunk get out of the way system. We've got improved solar up on the roof of this one, automatic leveling and closed heated belly. Again, True Queen bed up front. It does all the things it needs to and nothing it doesn't. Let me know what you think about this one, what you like and dislike, and that's what I'm going to do for you along the way from my perspective.
And it's kind of funny. I don't know why. I'm almost getting a little bit of like classic camper vibes. Maybe because this is just such a tried and true floor plan. We've also got a blue light special on aisle 5 over here. You've got these crazy neon blue accent lights in several areas of the RV. The bunk room has some, the bedroom has some, obviously both the living room and the kitchen have some. So if you want to get Smurfaroonie with it over here, you can definitely do that. Now, they really took advantage of the fact that in a fifth wheel, they had room for a taller living room super slide, and they maximized the windows in that, which is great. Although, being fair, the slide side windows do not open for airflow, only the ones on the exterior side wall of the slide. So like facing the neighbors or facing your, well, I guess not the campsite as it were in this one. Hide-a-bed sleeper sofa standard, big full, what I'm going to call true U dinette standard. And I really stress that because there are some 2-bench dinettes that have a little mini bench kind of jerked over and shoved in the middle of it. And 2 adults can barely sit at those things. This is something that 3 or 4 people can still sit at, especially reliably if you've got a couple little kids with you. Now, in terms of keeping it cool, because, you know, those big windows can let in a lot of sunlight, and of course there's privacy shades, but you've got 15,000 BTU air conditioners. Anywhere that you find one in an Arctic Wolf, it's the bigger air unit standard, which is really nice. They don't use any of the smaller air systems. Now, just to kind of break up the monotony of things a little bit, they put like a smoky glass, I get the word wrong, not vertically beveled. What's the word? It's not beveled. God bless America. I suck with my home and garden television terms. But vertical fluted, I think is the phrase, glass on this. But it's smoky enough that you can't see into it. So like if you got some clutter in there or something like that, you don't got to worry about people taking a peek at it. Now, they've gone away from that magnetic backsplash cutting board thing, which I'm kind of a bummer. I really kind of liked it. And they went with a nice side or backsplash beside the or behind the stove. Obviously, still no side splash over here. What's funny is their toy hauler cousin Wolfpack, another member of the Cherokee RV family, they are actually doing a sofa side splash. I think I'm suffering from some heat exhaustion here because like I'm really struggling and the words are not coming into my brain grapes over here. Now I'm looking for household outlets around the kitchen, and sorry, the kitchen sink is right in the way. I did find a set over here, and if I look on the base, wow, there's only 1 set of outlets in that kitchen. like a couple outlets over here, at least on the side of that cabinet, would be nice. This being a laminated sidewall and a 2-inch sidewall at that, which is really nice. It makes it very difficult to put outlets in the sidewall. Not impossible, but this is a very budget-sensitive, budget-focused brand, and I just don't think that's what they're looking to accomplish in this one. Now, if this were a travel trailer, that would be the only bathroom more than likely, and it'd be both a toilet and a shower. But this is a fifth wheel, and they wanted to give a dedicated bathroom for the upper deck. So they had a little more room to kind of play with here. So as a result, sitting over here on the toilet, it feels nice and big. But I did notice for right-handed people, it would really be helpful if they would turn that toilet a little bit, because the legroom is fine, but it's a little tight on the right, if you will. Now, you have a deadbolt to keep this door private. That being said, you feel a little bit weirdly exposed with a window directly in that door. And you might go, why would they do that? Well, because basically they order one part the same way every single time. And on this floor plan, maybe it wasn't necessarily ideal for the function of it. But thankfully, you could put a privacy shade on that. You could cover it. You could do some things. I do like that big medicine cabinet in the corner for all the kids' toothbrushes. Big sink over here. So if you do have two little kids brushing their teeth at the same time, they can make that work. And then you see there's a little remote control over there. Well, one of the other really nice things about these, if it's a, little bit of a stinky situation, you've got a remote controlled XL ceiling mounted power vent fan up there that, you don't have to be super tall to reach. And considering this is on the lower deck of the fifth wheel and the ceiling is pretty darn tall and the littlest people are probably using that half bath, that makes sense. That is a really, really good feature. Most brands will just give you the tiny fan and say, well, it's good enough. And maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But the fact is, they're just from the factory doing the big fans here. Now, in this rear private second living room, bunk room, slide, whatever we want to call it, we have what I love to refer to as the move bunk, get out the way system over here. And once again, you do have a little bit more of that Smurfaroonie accent lighting, which, if I can figure out the correct combination of switches, I could turn that off. And, you don't have to use that lighting. Like, I probably would not. My daughter might think it's cool. I don't know. I do like that big window back here. Really kind of opens everything up very, very nicely. And this over here is what I'm going to call a big kid bed. And it's 300-pound rated. It's over the camp kitchen. And they built a little bit of kind of shelf storage and sort of like entertainment center in back here. Remember how I called this maybe a second living room? If you want to put a TV in there or something like that, it's actually at a really nice location. And if maybe let whoever's back here bring like a gaming system, or again, if you're maybe considering converting this to some kind of office arrangement, you might be able to utilize that in a different way. Now, the bunk doesn't have gas struts to lift it, but it's also not real heavy. So, even little chicken arms like mine were able to manipulate that thing. Actually, let's take a look at that. Here's a look at it in the full-on sleeper mode, and it's not a full hide-a-bed below, it's a jackknife, but what that allows for are those 3 big dresser drawers down there, right down to the floor level, and having more storage in a room like this, very, very handy feature. As we back up, I would point out the fact that we do have sliding privacy doors for that rear room, which is kind of nice. It's not like a curtain, so everyone gets their own private little space. And then coming over here is, where do we want to start? You know what? We were talking about drawers before. Let's talk about drawers once again with those big full extension drawers all the way under those U-dinette benches right there. Up top, you can see really, they did a good job, I think, of utilizing a lot of the really high up storage on this. It doesn't go quite to the ceiling, but that would be really hard to reach. And maybe it offers you an opportunity to do some custom decorating. I don't know. Black stainless farm sink going on under that high-rise sprayer faucet there, and a nice little spot for a wastebasket under the sink is a nice touch. Drawer below the oven and triple drawers next to the sink are also very handy. We've also got that tri-fold sleeper sofa over here, and also you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it zebra blinds. Some folks either really think those are fantastic or they just really do not care for them. Now, if you look, certainly, I'm running into a wall behind me like a dingbat. Yeah, that's a 90-degree neck wrecker entertainment center. If you want to sit on that couch and watch TV, you're probably going to take off the factory bracket and put on a heavy-duty swing arm. I think it can be argued not everybody goes camping to watch TV. I think it can also just as easily be argued, yeah, but on a rainy day, I need a space to keep everybody entertained. And I get that. I respect that. That's just not what this RV is. Different RVs for different people. I've never yet found one RV that suits every single person's needs, wants, and desires. And I think it's fair to remember that maybe your idea of camping is not necessarily the idea of camping to which every single person has to or should adhere. Ooh, that's smart. Man, I'll go in some big high budget fifth wheels that will put your fuse box converter panel behind a slide. So like when you close the slide up, you can't get to it. Well, if you pop a fuse, now it's a problem. Well, they just made it so you can always get to that. That is smart. I also really like that clutter cutter shoe garage right there. That is a handy dandy little feature. Now, right by the entry door, this is where all of our real control stuff is. We got the, well, it's supposed to be motion lit. There, okay, there it goes. Why did that not light up? I don't know. What was I getting at? The allegedly motion lit command panel over here. You can Bluetooth to this if you want, but you don't have to. Tankless water heater controls right here. So a couple back-to-back showers and no one's going to have to freeze out. Thermostat, voltage meter for our batteries, and this little guy right here. This is basically the Bluetooth link point if you want to play music through your RV speakers and like broadcast it off your phone or something like that. That's what this is right here. It's currently blinking because it's in search mode. It's in findable mode. And then this. If you get their free app that can control the thing and you scan this QR code, that will link you up to the backup camera built right on this RV. And it makes it very simple to do, so you don't have to have a PhD in RVology to manage that thing. Now, this is interesting right here. It is just a big chunk of towel space. And I kind of like it. I almost wish there was a little bit of a shelf in there, but I'm also in a way not mad that there's not, because it's deep enough that could actually make some of it hard to reach. And that is a medicine cabinet, but we are just at it's going to open toward us, and that's a hard thing to get to. In case you're wondering why there's some splatters up here, well, let's just say that there was a little bit more pressure in the system than I realized, and when I bumped the faucets, I found out that there is antifreeze in those lines, and I'm wearing the other half of it. Big sink right there too, which is really, really nice. And where the half bath was a little bit tight around the arm space, you don't have that problem here. I think overall that is fairly fluffy friendly. Now there are certainly some folks of a larger stature, of a larger nature, that maybe it doesn't fit perfectly well. That I don't know. I can only use my own body size for reference. And speaking of that, I'm a little bit over 6 foot, plus a hat, plus shoes. And look at how much room is above my head standing in that rectangular shower. That I like. What I also like, and I suspect you're going to like, is once again, no need to upgrade fans. And every time a high dollar fancy fifth wheel manufacturer tells me, oh, those big fans just cost too much money, I say, well, then how is it Cherokee Arctic Wolves are doing it and their RVs cost thousands of dollars less than yours? Now, certainly, there are other things that maybe this RV doesn't do, but sometimes that's not a bad thing, like the fact that it does not do the ankle breaker step of death around that 60 by 80 True Queen bed. And they're not doing a little goofy short camp queen. They're not doing any goof, stupid, weird things like that. They're just doing the smart stuff that really matters. As you see, you can get these with the second air conditioner. This is big enough. I can't imagine not wanting a second air conditioner on this. If you're a big-time boondocker, maybe you would prefer a vent fan or something there, but I would personally probably go with the second air. And I really respect, once again, they do what really needs to be done. Like putting a radius edge on those cabinets right there so you're not stabbing yourself with them. That, to me, is smart. Now, just like we've seen in every other room in the RV, if you want to give yourself a Smurf bed suntan, you can do that in here, although I probably certainly wouldn't. I do like the LED lights there. I would just change them out for something else and maybe dim the intensity a little bit. This down here is also really interesting. You've got household and USB outlets on both sides of the RV. Over here, this brick is also your USB plugs, a USB Type A and one Type C. But it's also a single outlet inverter. So if you do have CPAP machines, standing fans, something like that, you can pull off your battery and still run at least one household plug in the RV. Now, that's not a ton, but it is more than zero. Looking through all the storage in here, both sides of the bed are very symmetrical. You've got almost elevated dressers with dresser drawers beneath. Full storage under the bed, once again, with no sort of ankle break or death step or anything like that. And easy room to walk all the way around the bed. And I don't know if you've noticed, but not a single floor vent in the living room, any of your sleeping areas. There technically is one floor vent in the bathroom, but it's kind of out of the way where you're not inclined to be able to step on it. Now, from the other direction, if you wake up in the morning, this is maybe what it might kind of look like to you here. You can see that second centrally ducted air conditioner. If they'd remember, they only use the bigger 15,000 BTU air units. No factory TV, but up here in the corner they are prepped and ready for one. And then if we look all the way down to the floor over here, you'll see down here we do have ourselves a pretty decent little shoe garage space. However, what's above that in door number 1 and door number 2, that is really your hanging storage closet space. It's actually 2 doors for 1 closet, but it is a nice big deep closet. So if you do have some kind of hanging storage you need, well, you can take care of it right there. Now, I've also closed the slides so we can see what this thing looks like in road mode. Now, the bathroom's right off the hallway. So bathroom, front bedroom, absolutely no question. You can get to those right there. It gets a little bit trickier when we get downstairs. If you notice the way that they have kind of the kitchen and the sofa arranged, they kind of slot in on one another, almost like Legos-ish a bit. But what that means is that you can still slide around the countertop. So if you need to get in here, you need to get to the kitchen, you got to make a little travel and food stop, you can. Now, the front bathroom's always going to be available from the main door. You've got an outside direct entry door to that second bathroom. But the bunk room, well, if you really want to be able to use the bunk room, you've got to find a spot where you can deploy the slide. So keep that in mind. Hope this helps.
Now, she's fun, but a couple of potentially harsh doses of reality here. The hard facts is this thing is a little bit over 37 foot long, tip to tail. Now, some people kind of argue, yeah, but in a fifth wheel you sort of cheat that because part of it is hanging over your truck. Yeah, but it's still big. If we're gonna go by that standard, then it's still at least equivalent to like a 32, 33 foot travel trailer. It ain't small by any means. It's kind of like my belly after visiting the local buffet. The other thing here is it's nearly 10,000 pounds empty and dry. Now, it's got about, I think, 2,300-ish pounds of cargo carrying capacity, so that's not terrible. Again, I think it checks those boxes very nicely. But what I'm getting at is the Ford Ranger and the half-ton need not apply. I feel very strongly this is a good 3/4 ton and up kind of size, but I generally feel that way about just about any fifth wheel anyway. Now, what they call their juice pack is a single lead-acid battery from the factory, a new improved charge controller, and up on the roof, a 100-watt solar panel, and you can expand on that, I think, to like 400 and some odd watts if you feel like it. You will need to change out some wiring if you really want to max that sucker out. But it does have some expansion capacity, which is kind of nice. That's a vast improvement for what they were doing in previous generations. Also notice a little bit of privacy. They've put a mirror kind of film tint on the windows, which, man, on a bright blue sky day like this, I'm really liking the look of those. I've been kind of on the fence a little bit, but it's starting to win me over. They don't do a big giant mega drop frame. This is just not an over-the-top kind of brand. They've got a pass-through here. And yeah, you can see that heat duct run, but it's all the way up against the ceiling. It's not where shifting cargo is likely to hit it. They've done the important things, and they've done them in a cost-effective way. I also got to give them some credit. Again, just smart execution, smart dollar spends. The TV hookups in the pass-through. A lot of RVs have those, but on a lot of RVs, you have to leave the baggage door open to use them. Now, with that little feed hole off the side, you don't. You've also got the drunken uncle leash latch to keep your four-legged furry friends around the campsite, nicely located under the awning as well. Now, the underbelly of this, it is enclosed. It is forced air heated. People want to ask the question, is it 4 seasons? First of all, I despise that phrasing, but neither here nor there. Let's just roll with it. Don't know. That's the real answer. Don't know, because The manufacturer of this RV doesn't actually cold chamber and test it. It might be capable. I don't know. I do think this is going to be a reasonable extended season package, but I don't think this is some epic super cold 4 seasons. Although with 30,000 BTUs of cooling power up top and a PVC roof membrane reflecting some sun, it should do pretty good in the hot summertime when most of us with kids are probably camping. Good awning space on this. I like how it does clear both entry doors very nicely. I don't love the location of the water heater. If you've never camped, you don't know why I feel that way. A water heater over here has a hot air exhaust right next to the entry door, right next to your patio space. So you're going to have to teach your kids, especially if they're younger kids, not to touch that because, you know, HOT, hot, gonna burn your fingers. So just kind of keep that in mind. And right next to the bathroom entry door, we have ourselves a full hot-cold utility shower. Very handy if you want to get the worst of the stuff off the kids, even though they're only really going into a half bath over here. Now, as you may have, I don't know if you saw my reflection on that. I was looking at the RV, not looking at my screen and my viewfinder. We do, again, have that second entry door. Now, what's interesting is how they give this the same treatment as our main entry door. You have the same big folding grab handle, you have the same stable steps, and I know that it looks weird to some people. You're like, why is there a door to the bathroom? Because what you're afraid of is that you're going to be embarrassed. Somebody's going to open that door, and you're going to be sitting there dropping trowel, and the neighbor's going to be like, you know, well, keep in mind, you have the power to control that. They are, once again, it's the same door as your main entry door, and you can deadbolt lock that sucker so you can avoid that uncomfortable situation. Also, having that big camp kitchen out here, full-size camp kitchens have become pretty darn rare. I like how it's nice and tall. I can walk right under this thing a little over 6 foot tall, no problem. The bigger fridge, a little cooktop that slides out, nothing fancy, but this is the extra touches I like that they're putting in here. An ice maker and those things, if you talk to people who have owned one of these, as long as you got power and you got water, buddy, you got ice. And considering we got water right here with a real sink that actually does dribble into a real drain, you're going to be pretty reliable back here. Now, backing up, I think it's still an option. The cargo travel rack that you're looking at on the back here, that's got about a 200-pound capacity. And because they put their spare tire in the front pass-through, you haven't lost a chunk of that weight by default right from the factory level. Now, you can see up top, they used to be able to option a ladder on these, and then they removed that. Now they're standardizing the prep for that telescopic removable ladder. And if I get you right up close here, you can also see how this does come factory equipped with a backup camera. Now, if we get you up top there and look around, we kind of peeked at this earlier in our floor plan in a flash, but you can see that now 100-watt solar panel. Previously, these were only 50 watts. And don't get me wrong, 100 watts is not like, oh, buddy, you're going to be able to run the air conditioners now. It's not what that is. But it's twice as much as it used to be, and it's 100 watts more than a ton of brands still offer standard from the factory. Ugh, God bless. I just had like the biggest sneezing fit of my life. You know, like I normally sneeze 3 times. I'm a 3 sneezer for some reason. I got like 7 sneezes in and it wasn't quitting. I'm like, this is my life now. I'm gonna die this way. I don't know. Thankfully it finally, you don't care. Why am I talking about? It doesn't matter. Check the link in the video description if you're curious about how much one of these runs and where we might have one parked, and give our team a call. You know, if you have any other questions, or drop me a note. Let me know what you like about it. What would you change given the opportunity? Again, overall, quick synopsis. I think pound for pound, it hits some really big marks. I like the big air conditioners. I like the big vent fans. It maybe doesn't do all the fancy widgets and whiz bangs, but for getting a family out and making some memories, it's a pretty good machine for something like that. So when you're ready, we're ready. We don't do hidden fees. We just do everything else. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.